this is not a 4-1 game. Let's also be clear about that as we go through this one. Answer what's going on in the chat, see how you guys are feeling, take call-ins here tonight. But genuinely, right off the top, not a 4-1 game. 2 empty net goals from the Rangers. One, obviously, at the very, very end of the game there, Artemi Panarin able to score that one, continue his point streak. But that's just the Leafs pulling the goalie, being down 2, going over-aggressive with like 30 seconds, 45 seconds left in the game. And it pops out, and Panarin's able to get down the ice all alone and bury it into the empty net. Outside of that, it's a tight game. It's an extremely exciting game. I think that the score is a little bit misleading in terms of the way things went. But as we kind of break this one down and start to dig into some of the stuff that went right tonight, some of the stuff that went wrong, I think one of the recurring themes is going to be something that we always kind of look at in the playoffs as well. What happens when these games are tight? And I know that this is game 5 of the regular season, and it's not something to really sit here and kind of slam the panic button over and start to freak out and say, can't believe this is happening, or start to try to get like too much PTSD from those moments when it matters the most. But the reality is, you face a good goalie, you face a tough team to score against, a team that's pretty good defensively, and all of a sudden it's like, well, where did the scoring go? Matthews gets on the sheet tonight. He scores back-to-back games here now. Feels like he's just going to be able to score or be able to be a threat every single time he's on the ice at this point. You look at how many chances he generated here tonight. Auston Matthews finishes the game with 9 shots on goal. William Nylander himself finishes with 8 shots on goal. Like, you see tweets come out after the fact. Jonas Siegel, Auston Matthews, and William Nylander combined for 17 shots on 26 attempts. Those two guys were all over it, and that's great. It's fun to see. It's good to walk away and know, okay, we were involved in this game. Like, it wasn't just a blowout. We had no shot here against the Rangers. But the thing that becomes frustrating, right, is that you have these games where it does get tight. It's hard to score against these goaltenders, and you just can't find ways to put it in the back of the net. And that's kind of a theme that happens with this team. I don't want to go down the road here tonight and in this conversation of talking about getting goalied. I don't want to have that conversation, because why does it feel like we're the only team in the league who gets goalied like 15 times a year, right? At some point, you've got these guys who are really, really good. You should be able to score goals against the other teams. Ryan Hillier there says, Hillier, sorry if hopefully I said your name right there, but he says, Igor was really good. Yeah, he was really good. I'm not taking away from that at all. You know who else was really good? Anthony Stolarz. He was really good here tonight. Look at his stats. Look at the way he played. 25 saves on 27 shots. He also put up a .926 save percentage. Shesterkin at the other end just had a 34 saves on 35 shots, finishes with a .971. A couple of those he gets lucky, obviously. There was a Domi post. There was a couple others that just trickled through him. The Nylander one where it looks like he's going glove, tries to beat him 5-hole, bounces off the bottom of his pad, and it just misses the outside of the net. Like, those are just unlucky plays, unlucky situations. I'm not really worried about kind of the chance generation and how they played. It just feels like a recurring theme or a recycled theme that you get into these games with these tough goalies and you can't figure it out. You can't find ways to score on your opportunities. And that, I think, is what becomes frustrating about some of this stuff when you kind of take away from it and take a bigger approach of just how this team has performed traditionally and how things have gone in the past, and then carrying it over to tonight. You want to kind of get rid of that. You want that to not be the case anymore. Like, yeah, you scored 1 goal here, and yeah, Shesterkin was really good, but you can't find a way to get to 2. You can't find a way to get that second goal. Like, you have to play a perfect game defensively in order to win. That feels like unfair to your defense and your goaltender for that to be the case on a nightly basis. That would suck if that's going to happen regularly, and I mean nightly basis in the playoffs. Obviously, when you go through a 7-game series, you're kind of looking, saying, hey, we got to play perfect defense. Nothing can happen, because at the other end, if the other team is even slightly good defensively, we can't score. That's something you want to find ways to get rid of, and this might be a different year. It might have just been something that happened here tonight, or you say, we can't dig into this too much and panic too much about it. Regardless, it is it is something that we've seen out of the team in years past. So I think that, as Francesco says, Leafs, same shit. That's one of those things where it's like, hey, we see this out of this group before. Do good. Dang, was a good game there for a minute. Shitty ending. Yeah, it was a really good game. I do agree. It was a really good game. It was an entertaining one. I'm not taking away from any of that. There were just other things that we kind of look at and say, hey, you know what? It's tough. Like, you got to figure out ways to score. Donnie saying the Leafs are the only team that gets goalied. I disagree with that. I did bring up off the top there that I think these guys are, it's one of the most frequent conversations that we have. Got goalie tonight. Like, okay, we have some of the best shooters in the world, some of the best goal scorers and playmakers in the world. Why can't we find ways to score? All right. If you guys do want to call into the show, if anyone wants to call in here tonight, send me a message, whether it's on Twitter. For those of you who might have me on Discord as well, you can send a message there. Happy to take your calls, hear from you guys here tonight. If you look in the description of the show, you will find in there is a link to call in. You don't need to be on camera. You can just call into the show, click the button, join the room, send me a message, say who it is, and I will let people in here to give your thoughts on tonight's game and everything that went right, what went wrong, whatever it may be. You guys do that. Send me a message. Happy to have people join into the show here tonight, join into the program. This is obviously geared towards fans as well. If you're watching, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Okay. One of the things I want to address here tonight on a negative, because I want to turn it around and kind of turn towards some more positive about this one, just based on the way we started here. But one of the other things that I think was kind of more on the negative side and is going to become more of a reality, unfortunately, just sitting where we're at, on the fact that this is 5 games into the season and it's abundantly an issue for this group, or it's glaringly an issue for this group right now, present day, and it's only going to get worse as it goes along, is the way John Tavares is playing. There's a lot of people bringing it up in the chat. Some people are very much on certain sides of things. Some people are not as panicked, but the general sentiment of those of you in the chat that I'm reading as of right now is that John Tavares is on the wrong side of it. It's hard to disagree. The one of the things I was reading on Twitter tonight as well, I'm watching it on the power play. He is it's a step behind physically. Obviously, I think he's still thinking the game the same way. I think he can still be an effective player, but it's not the way that he has been in years past. And I think that we as a fan base need to accept that. And I think maybe at this point, because it seems like Craig Berube has at least adapted it when it comes to the lineup and how he's playing in there, I think that he is no longer an asset when it comes to the power play and the odd man situations, unless he is just planted in front and not relied upon to go north-south. We are really, really struggling on the zone entries right now. And the thing that we seem to just, as a group, and this team seems to just be completely glued to, is the idea that we need to get the zone and dish it to Tavares on the wall while he's standing there without his feet moving. Every single time. It's a hard thing to watch. It's a frustrating thing to watch when it comes to that, because you're entering the zone with speed. You're attacking with Matthews and Nylander for the most part, sometimes Marner, coming downhill aggressively, getting into the zone, forcing the defense back, kind of getting into weak spots against the top guys who are trying to push up at the blue line there as well. And then the pass immediately goes to Tavares and it's killed. He is able to get snuffed out along the wall. They're able to take away time and space from him. He's forced to make a pass or a chip down into the corner. He's trying to force it across. He's trying to hit guys coming in on the opposite side. More often than not, it's resulting in us having to go get the puck back. It's resulting in turnovers. It's missed passes. It's broken plays. And we're not able to enter the zone cleanly, quickly, efficiently, and then also this is now resulting negatively in our inability to set up in the offensive zone. That has been an absolute killer for this group to this point in time. Like, these guys are just, it's not clicking on this power play. It is not clicking on this power play, and I think the primary issue is entering into the zone, and Tavares is being relied upon on that wall to get into the zone too much. Far too much. At this point, it's just something that I think you kind of just got to admit that it might be over. It doesn't matter what his name was, what his name is, how much money he's being paid. If he's not going to help the team in those spots and he's not going to help the team in those positions, stop asking it of him. I'm not saying I'm to send him to the pasture and never bring him back and don't play him, but okay, he's your third line center. There you go. That's where he slots in. Maybe he's just not an effective player on that first power play. And for a group that's struggling to score right now and make things happen, it might just not be the ideal fit in that spot. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.